Have you ever caught yourself imagining a conversation that never actually happened? Maybe you were lying in bed, replaying an argument in your head, saying things you wish you had said. Or perhaps you imagined a perfect future moment where everything finally goes your way. But here's a question most people avoid asking. Why does your mind create stories that don't exist? And more importantly, what does that say about you? Because the truth is, this isn't random. It's psychological. It's deeply human. And it's happening more often than you think. Imagine this. You're walking alone, headphones on, and suddenly your mind drifts. You're no longer in the present moment. You're in a completely different reality. Talking to someone, proving a point, winning an argument, living a better version of your life. For a moment. It feels real, almost too real. And then you snap back. Reality feels quieter, less exciting, sometimes even disappointing. Why? Because your brain isn't just thinking. It's trying to protect you. Psychology tells us that these fake scenarios are often a form of mental simulation. Your brain is constantly rehearsing life, preparing you for situations, protecting you from pain, or giving you what reality didn't. Think about it. When you imagine winning an argument, are you really trying to win? Or are you trying to feel heard? When you imagine success, admiration, or love, are you creating a fantasy or filling an emotional gap? Here's where it gets deeper. There are two versions of you. The one that exists in the real world, and the one that exists inside your mind. One is limited by circumstances. The other is limitless. One deals with rejection, awkwardness, imperfection. The other always says the right thing, looks confident, feels in control. So naturally, your mind escapes there. But is it escape? Or is it expression? Because sometimes these imagined scenarios are not lies. They are unspoken truth. Things you couldn't say out loud. Feelings you didn't fully understand. Versions of yourself you haven't become yet. Your imagination becomes a safe space. A quiet room where your real emotions can finally speak. But there's also a paradox. The more you live in these imagined worlds, the harder it becomes to fully live in the real one. Because reality doesn't follow your script. People don't respond the way you planned. Moments don't unfold perfectly. And slowly, you begin comparing real life to a version that never had flaws. So ask yourself honestly, are you imagining to grow or imagining to escape? Because there's a difference. One helps you prepare for life. The other quietly pulls you away from it. And maybe, just maybe, those fake scenarios aren't fake at all. They are reflections of your desires, your fears, your unmet needs. They are whispers from your subconscious saying, this matters to you, even if you don't say it out loud. But then comes the real question. What happens when imagination becomes more comfortable than reality? That's where things begin to change. That's where the mind starts building a world you don't want to leave. What happens? When the world inside your mind starts feeling safer than the one outside, at first it's harmless. You imagine scenarios to pass time, to entertain yourself, to process emotions you don't fully understand. But slowly, something shifts. You begin to prefer those moments. Because in your imagination, you are understood without explaining. You are appreciated without trying. You are confident without fear. And in real life, things feel slower, heavier, unpredictable. This is where psychology introduces something important. Escapism. Not all escape is bad. Sometimes, your mind needs a break from stress, rejection, or emotional overload. It builds small imaginary worlds where you can breathe. But here's the subtle danger. When escape becomes a habit, it quietly turns into avoidance. Instead of facing a difficult conversation, you imagine it. Instead of taking a risk, you play it safely in your head. Instead of living the moment, you rehearse it endlessly. And without realizing it, you start living less and thinking more. Think about this. Have you ever spent so much time imagining a situation that when it finally happened, it felt strangely underwhelming? Almost like you had already lived it. That's because your brain doesn't fully separate real experiences from vividly imagined ones. To your mind, both can feel real. And this creates a quiet illusion of progress. You feel like you've done something, but in reality, nothing has changed. Now here's the deeper layer. People who frequently imagine fake scenarios are often not lost or weird. They are emotionally aware, but sometimes emotionally overwhelmed. They feel deeply. They think deeply. They notice things others ignore. And because of that, their inner world becomes richer than their outer one. But even a beautiful inner world can become a cage if you never step outside it. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding? Is it rejection? Judgment? Failure? Or is it something even quieter? The fear that reality might not match your expectations? Because imagination gives you control. Reality does not. And control feels safe. But growth? Growth lives in uncertainty. Here's the paradox. The same imagination that comforts you can also hold you back. It can prepare you for life, or slowly replace it. It can help you become who you want to be, or keep you dreaming about it forever. So what's the balance? You don't need to stop imagining. That's not the goal. Imagination is not your enemy. It's a tool, a powerful one. But it was never meant to replace reality, only to guide you through it. Use it to understand yourself, to explore your emotions, to visualize your growth. But then, take one small step into the real world. Say one thing you've been rehearsing. Do one thing you've been imagining. Face one moment without rewriting it in your head. Because at the end of the day, your mind can create thousands of perfect scenarios. But your life? It only changes when you live one real moment. And maybe the goal was never to stop imagining, but to slowly become the person you keep seeing in those thoughts. So next time you drift into a fake scenario, pause and gently ask yourself, is this preparing me for life or replacing it? Because the answer to that question might quietly change everything.